Hello, guys. How are you doing? My name is Joshua, and I welcome you to the 2 weeks free web development bootcamp. Today happens to be the seventh class, or sorry, the ninth class of the bootcamp. So, if you are new to my YouTube channel, before you continue with this video, please subscribe. And also, to understand today's video, I would advise you start the class, or I would advise you start from the first class of the 2 weeks web development bootcamp. Lastly, before we proceed into today's topic, I would like to introduce you to my JavaScript bootcamp course. I would like to introduce you to my JavaScript bootcamp course. It is titled JavaScript Simplified. Let me show you. It is titled JavaScript Simplified. So, with this course, you'll be able to master JavaScript in 8 weeks with live mentorship and certification. So, with JavaScript Simplified, you will learn everything you need to confidently code dynamic and interactive websites, guided by live mentorship every step of the way. Every step of the way. This beginner friendly 8 weeks program is tailored for those with little to no experience, offering a structured path to mastering one of the most in demand programming language today. And guess what? The course is going to be a live boot camp. It's not a pre-recorded video. It's going to be a live boot camp, and it's going to be starting February 3rd, 2025. So what are you going to be learning in this course? You're going to be learning JavaScript fundamentals such as data type, values, variable, functions, array, object, loops and conditions, and many more. You're going to be learning DOM manipulation, that is document object model manipulation. So with DOM manipulation, you'll be able to bring your web page to life with interactivity. Then you also learn JavaScript methods such as array method, object method, date method, number method, and math method, and many more. You're also going to be learning ESC's features such as enhanced object literal, arrow function, and a lot of ESC's features. And you're also going to be learning debugging and problem solving. Then afterwards, I'll also teach you how to build games and interactive websites. I'm going to teach you how to build projects. So it is going to be a live class. So it's going to be a live class, interactive sessions with real-time questions and answer to ensure you fully understand each concept. So there's going to be a live class, and every live class is also going to be recorded. So you have access to the recordings of every live class for you to be able to review and to reinforce your learning anytime. And you're also going to have access to personalized mentorship. So you have access to me directly. So when you have any issues, or when you need guidance and support, you'll be able to access me directly. And also hands-on project as well. Then after the end, you be given certification. So why is this course perfect for you? Number one, it is beginner friendly. No prior experience, no problem. You are good to go. Then it is also affordable. You can learn or enroll for this course with just $20. With just $20. And also it is a flexible learning. You get that now? It is also a flexible learning. So in the event you are not available for the live class, the recording for every live class is what available, and also mentorship and yes, mentorship and guidance as well. So the duration of the course is going to be 8 weeks, and the cost is $20. But guess what? I am running a discount. I'll be giving 50% discount for the first 100 person that enrolls for this course before the start date. The we are going to be starting by February 3rd. But before February 3rd, if you enroll before February 3rd, you will have access to, I'll be giving you 50% discount. So don't miss this opportunity. And when you enroll, the moment you make payment, you are going to be directed to the WhatsApp group of the boot camp. You are going to be directed to the WhatsApp group of the boot camp. So if you want to make payment, if you want to enroll, I'm going to be dropping the link. I'm going to be dropping the link on the description. So check the description box. You are going to be seeing the link to this course. You're going to be seeing the link to this course to make purchase. You're going to be seeing the link. So please, guys, enroll. Enroll is very, very, very affordable. All right. Thank you. Okay. So let's move on to today's class. So today we are going to be looking at responsive web design. So under responsive web design, we are going to be looking at absolute and relative unit and media query. So, all right, I'm going to create a new folder. I'll call this class 9. Then under class 9, under class 9 folder, I'm going to create a new file. I'll call it units.html. Yeah, units.html. So I'll generate my HTML boilerplate. No. All right, let me expand this, enlarge this. I think it's better now. All right, so we're good to go. Let me confirm if my mouth is not muted. Okay, all right. So let's do something. Let me just type H1. I'll say absolute, or let's call it responsive web design. Yeah, responsive web design. I'm just going to do a style tag here. So I'll do body. So let's say okay, before body, let me do this. An asterisk, I'll say margin. All right. Then afterwards, do like H1, text align to be center. Okay, I'll save this. I'll probably do margin top. I'll do something like 50 pixel. All right, good. So let's preview this. Let's open this with live server. All right. So look at what we have here. Responsive web design. So let's go straight to the note. Yeah, in CSS, units are crucial for defining the size and spacing of elements on a web page. I repeat that. In CSS, units are crucial for defining the size and spacing of elements on a web page. Two common types of units are absolute units and relative units. Understanding these units is essential for responsive design and ensuring that your layout adapts well to different screen size. So please, this is a very interesting topic, so we require that you pay complete attention to this video so you can be able to get the most out of it. So let's look at absolute unit. So absolute units are fixed measurements that does not change based on other elements or based on user settings. Please take note of that. based on other element. I wish I could highlight this part. Based on other element or coming, I should be able to. Yes. Uh-huh. So here it says absolute unit are fixed measurement. Let me also highlight this part too as well. They are fixed measurement that do not change based on, so they are fixed measurement that do not change based on other elements or the user's settings. They are typically used when you need precise control over the size of your element. They are typically used when you need precise control over the size of elements. The most common absolute units in CSS are one, pixel. So pixel is one of the absolute units that we have, but also the one that we use on the web. So we have several absolute units, but I didn't capture that. We have what we call what do you call it, point, pica, centimeter, millimeter, and all of those things. So those ones, they are not needed in web design or website. So the one that is most important in website is what, pixel. You get that now? So now pixel, a pixel is the smallest unit of measurement in a digital display. So let's look at pixel. Let's zoom on pixel. So, but please bear in mind these 2 points, that absolute units are fixed measurement. One, and they do not change based on other elements or user settings. That's two. So, all right. If I come to my browser where I have this displayed, even though I reduce, okay, not reduce, so I want to reduce this font size based on the user setting, based on my settings. So I'll come to my browser. um where's the settings? So I'll come to settings, then you go to appearance. So if you notice, is it appearance? Yes, correct, it is appearance. So you can see the font size by default is what, medium. That is the recommended size for the fonts of our browser. So you can see that this is what we are having here. So this responsive web design is, we didn't give it any, we didn't give the H1 any font size. So it just assumes is default font size for H1. You get, so every text element, HTML element usually have a default font size. So how do I know? So if you come here, let's say if you inspect this, for instance, if you inspect this and let's see for the style, that's the H1. Let me click on the H1. So I click on the H1. So you see it has a default style of so 2M. So that could probably mean 32 pixel. You get that now? That could probably mean 32 pixel. All right. So now this has a default size of 32 pixel. So if I come to the settings and I make it smaller, let's say, for example, I don't want to use the recommended size, which is the medium size. I want to make it very small. So if I click on very small, so my font size has been changed to very small. So now observe, if I come to the document, look at what we have. Can you see? Very small. All right. I think we're going somewhere. So I come to medium. Look at what we have here. Medium. But there are times whereby, okay, the reason why it's not changing, yes, I remember. The reason why it's not changing, or sorry, the reason why it is adapting to the settings of my settings, the font size settings, is because I've not given the H1 a default style, a default font size. So imagine, like, okay, let me reset it back to, hold on, um let me reset it. Let me reset it back to okay, medium. Okay, it's back to medium. All right, please hold on. All right, so okay, it's back to medium size now. So if I come here and I give I give a default font size. Let's say I give it 40 pixel. I give it 40 pixel. Now we've been able to set the font size of the H1. So now what I'm going to show you now is going to make sense. Can you see how bold it is? Responsive web design. So this is 40 pixel um, font size of H1. So if I come here and I reduce this to very small, let's see if it's going to reduce to very small. Can you see? It's not reducing, it's still maintaining that what fixed measurement. So if I come here, I make it okay, let me make it very small, sorry. Very small. Look at, can you see? It's still not changing. All right. So if I come here, I make it very large. Normally it's supposed to enlarge, but it's still not what changing. So it means that the font size that I set for this H1 is fixed. So even though I try to alter the size in my browser here, I make it very small, nothing is still changing. I come here, I make it very large, nothing still change. It's still static. So this goes to explain or illustrate the definition that we have here, that absolute unit are fixed measurement and that they do not change based on elements, based on other elements, or based on the user's settings. So you get that now, based on the user settings. So I come here, I change the settings to very large and it didn't even affect the font size. I also change it to very small, it didn't affect what the font size. So you see now, so because we set the H1 to be what 40 pixels. So by default, it is so now we've set the H1 to be 40 pixels. So no matter how we try to alter the font size in our browser settings, it will not change. Why? Because it is fixed. So this is one of the disadvantage of using pixel when you are building websites. So you only use pixel in areas whereby you know you know that you want to maintain precise control over the size of your element, regardless of the change you make in your user settings. You get that now? So if you want to maintain precise control over the size of your element, you can use pixel. But if you want the size of your element to change based on the user settings or based on other element, then it is not advisable to use what? Pixel. All right. So now in this case, let's now explain responsive design. So I believe that I've done justice to this, to pixel. So let's look at the responsive unit. So responsive units are based on other measurement. Responsive units are based on other measurement, making them more flexible and adaptable to different screen size and users preference. You get that now? So relative units are based on other measurements, making them more flexible and adaptable to different screen sizes and user preferences. The most common relative units that we have in CSS are 1 percentage, then 2 m, then 3 rem, then 4 viewport unit. That's the viewport width and the viewport height. All right. So I'm going to start with rem. Then from there, we'll move to M, and we move to percentage and viewport. So let's start with rem. So what's the meaning of rem? So all of these units, they are relative units, unlike pixel, which is absolute unit. So rem is relative to the root element's font size, usually the HTML element. You get that now? So rem is relative to the root element font size, which is usually the HTML element. That's the HTML tag element. So if we go to our browser and let's check default font size of HTML. Let's see what we have here. So can you see the default font size of HTML is what? 16 pixel. It says the default font size of HTML is 16 pixel. This is the size of the page output on the screen when no work is applied to the page. You see that this is the size of the page output on the screen when no work is applied to the page. So all right. So by default, the font size of HTML element is what, 16 pixel. So all right. Then rem simply means rem is relative to the root element font size, and the root element font size we are talking about here is what, HTML is relative. So now, if the root element, let me create a note here, or let me do it outside of class 9 folder. So I'll just do note.txt. So here, if the font size of HTML element, that's the root, is 16 pixel, and we say that rem is relative to the font size of the root element. So that means if we are to convert 16 pixel to rem, so we say 16 pixel is the same as what, 1 rem. So the 16 pixel is equals to what, 1 rem, and 2 pixel now will be 32. So let me just do it like this. So I'll say 1 rem is equals to what, 16 pixel. Why 2 rem will be equals to what, 32 pixel. Why 3 rem will be equals to okay, 48 what, pixel. You see that now? Fantastic. So now if I come to the unit now, and I say, okay, I want this font size to be what, to be, instead of 40 pixel now, I will say I want it to be like 3 rem. So 3 rem simply means 48 pixel. You get that now? 3 rem simply means 48 pixel. So now let's look at how it's going to appear on our screen. So can you see now we have, okay, let me bring it back. Let me bring it to medium. So now look at what we have: responsive web design. So we gave it a default size of what, 3 rem. Oh, I hope you are following. So this 3 rem simply means 3 times 16 to give us what, 48 pixels. So the equivalent of 3 rem in pixel is what, 48 pixel. Just like the way we have it in the note here. You see that now? Why? Because the default font size of the HTML element is 16. So if we say 3 rem, 3 rem simply means 3 times 16, which will give us what, 48 pixel. So that means rem is relative to the font size of the HTML element. So now let's look at something. So this is the size now, 48 pixel, 3 rem. So if I come here and I reduce this to very small, if I reduce this to very small, you can see it will adapt. I see that now, it will adapt. Why? Because I've been able to change it in my, I'll be able to change the font size here through my user settings on my browser. Why? Because if the user setting, if very small, for example, is like 8 pixel, or if very small, for example, is like yes, let's say 8 pixel. If very small, for example, is like 8 pixel. So now the root element will no longer be 16, it will now be 8. So 3 times 8 will be 24. So that's why we have it here. So you can see that the rem is relative to the HTML element font size. So you can see how flexible it is. So if I come here, I make it very large. Now look at what we are going to get. Can you see? Fantastic. Very large. So you can see how with rem we can make our text font size to be relative based on the user's settings. But that's not all. All right. So let's say, for example, I want to have a default font size of 10 pixel instead of 16 pixel, because I can set my own default font size. Of course, with having this understanding, you are good to go. But there are times whereby you want something like, you want to do something like 50 pixel. Let's say you want a font size to have 50 pixel. And if you want a font size to have 50 pixels, so to convert 50 pixel to rem, it can be kind of difficult. You have to be using calculations and all of those things like that. Take for example, if I say I want to convert 50 pixel to rem now, so that will be, who knows, that can be that should be like 3 point something rem. So you can see how stressful it is. You have to be calculating, okay, that should be 3 point something, 4 point something. You get that now? So instead of doing that, why don't we have our HTML font size to be 10 pixel by default instead of 16 pixel? So we can by ourselves set the HTML font size to be what? 10 pixel. So I can come here, I can say, okay, let me select the HTML. Since by default the HTML font size is 16, but I want to alter it here. I want my HTML font size to be what? To be 10 pixel. To be 10 pixel. You get that now? So 10 pixels. So now we have altered it. We have changed it from 16, which is the default, now to our own default, which is 10 pixel. So now this rem now will be relative to what? The font size of the HTML, which is 10 pixel. So if I say 3 rem, it simply means 30 pixel. So let's now see something. Let's see what will change here now. All right, so let me go to the user settings and let me bring it to medium. If I bring it to medium, can you see this is 30 pixel? Or for instance, let me make it 4 rem. So if I make it 4 rem, or let's say 5 rem, so that would be 60, that would be 50 pixel. So if I come here, look at what we have here. This is 5 rem, which is 50 pixel. So let me come to the user settings and let me make this very small. Let's see if it's going to adapt. Apparently it will not. Now you might want to ask, why is it so? The reason why it is so, it is because now we have set a definite default font size to our HTML, which is now what? 10. Initially it was 16, but now it's now 10. We set it ourselves. Because if you look at this, where is it? If you look at the browser where we have this here, it says here that that the default font size of HTML is 60 pixel. This is the size of the page output on the screen when no work. Please take note of when no work is applied to the page. And that says, however, user can change the default font size in their browser or in their operating system settings. You get that now? So in Chrome or in Microsoft Edge, the default font size is labeled medium, but there are also options for large and very large, small and very small. All right. So, but in this case now, we have given it a default font size of 10 pixels. So that means now, even though we reduce it here in our user settings, user agent settings, if I make it very large or very small, nothing will still change. It will still be static. So, but how can we make it responsive to the settings in my browser? How can I make that font size responsive to the settings of my browser? This is where percentage comes in. So the equivalent of 10 pixel in percentage is 62.5. You get that now? The equivalent of 10 pixel in percentage is what? 62.5. You get that now? So you see that 62 point what 5. So that's the equivalent of 10 pixel in percentage. So when you say 5 rem, it simply means 50 pixel. So this 62.5% that we set, you get that now, that we set as the font size, which simply means 10 pixel. So now this 62.5 pixel percent will be relative to the settings of my browser. So that means if I make it medium, let me make it medium now. So this is what you are going to get. So now if I make it very small now, see, it's going to be very small now. You can see now that is better. And if I make it very large, you can see it's going to be very, very large. So with this now, I can, so if I want to set my font size to be 55 pixel, so I know that if I'm to convert it to rem, it's going to be 5 point, it's going to be, what will I say? It's going to be 5 point something. It's going to be 5.5 rem. Please, sorry, I'm distracted here. Please hold on. Let me pause the video. All right. Welcome back. So, um, so if for example I want to have 55 pixel, so now since 1 pixel, when 10 pixel is equals to 1 rem, so with that I can say, okay, that means 5. If I'm to convert 55 pixel to rem, now it's going to be 5.5. So it's going to be easy. So even though I want 62 pixel in rem, it's going to be 6.2. So that's the essence. You get that now? So that's the essence of converting it towards 62.5%, which is equivalent to what 10 pixel. But if you want to go with the former, whereby you just make you just go with the default font size of HTML, no problem. We are good to go. All right. So I think that's that. So let's look at M. Let's look at M. So let's look at M. So what's the meaning of M? So let's go here. So M is relative to the font size of the element or its parent. You know, rem is relative to the browse to the HTML element. That's the root element, HTML element. But m is relative to the font size of the element or its parent element. You get that now? So let's look at something. So I come here, let's say, let me do a paragraph here. Um, let's look for something to take out here. Let me use mm, let me copy this. Copy. So I'm going to paste it here. All right. So let's say this um, this part here. I'm going to cut this part. This part that says two common types of units are absolute unit and relative unit. So I'm going to cut this part. So let me come in. Okay. Let me do the settings very well. The layout. All right. So I think we are good to go. Oh, all right. Let's just move on. Oh, let me collapse this. Yeah, good. So I'm just going to copy this and I'll cut it and put it in a span tag. Oh, hold on. Let's cut this, put it in a span tag. All right, good. So we have these two common types of unit. This text now in a span tag. So if you come to the style and you do something like p tag, and we'll have all right. So let's say we give it a font size, of 2m. So 2m will now be what? 10 pixel. Sorry, 20 pixel. So because we've changed our default HTML font size from 16 pixel to what 10. All right. Okay, let me just do it here. So HTML, I'll change it to 10 pixel. So by default, so if I do so, 1m will be equals to what? 10 pixel. While 2m will be equals to what? 20 what? Pixel. You see how simple it is? All right. So I set the font size to be 2m. So okay, if I set it to 1m for instance, it's going to be 10 pixels. So let's look at something. Can you see how small it is? Very, very small. Let me give it a margin top. A margin top of, let's say, one. So margin top of 1 rem. So now 1 rem is what? 10 pixel. So now you start getting used to using relative unit now compared to absolute unit. So 1 rem is what? 10 pixel. So now can you see we've moved it away from the top, 10 pixel. So all right. Let me also give it text align to be center. To be center. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Now you can see how small it is. So if I come here and I do 2m, if I do 2m, it's going to increase the font size to what? 20 pixel. So, but let me take it back to 1m. So now there's something I want to do here. If you look at the span tag, I want to increase the font size of the span tag. So I'm going to come here, I will select the span tag. So I will say P, then span. This is a child selector. So I'll do font size. I'll do if I do 1m. If I do 1m, look at it will still be 1m. So let me give it a different color so you'll be able to see. Let me give it a color of yellow. So let me look for a shade of yellow here. All right. Is it? No, I want hexadecimal color. All right, good. So can you see that? Okay. I'm sure you can see it. All right. So that's so 1m now. So if you come here, it says that that m is relative to its parent element. So this span tag, we give it a font size of 1m. So it is relative to what? Its parent what element. Now watch, if I give it 2m, so this 2m will be relative to what? Its parent what element. So if the parent element is 1m and you say 2m here, it's going to be relative to the parent element. Now look at, can you see it's now twice of the size of the parent element. So now let's say for example I give the parent element 2rem. If I give the parent element 2rem, that means the child element 2m will be relative to the parent font size. The parent font size, which is p tag, is having a font size of 2m. Then the child is also having a font size of 2m. You'll be thinking maybe it's going to be the same size, but it's not going to be the same size for both the parent and the child. Rather, the child is going to be two times of what? The font size of his parent element. So now let's see how it looks like here. Can you see? So now this span tag text is what? Two times of his parent what element. So that's how m works. So don't get it confused with rem. Rem is relative to the HTML element. That's the root. Why m is relative to its what? Parent element. Understood? All right. So let's look at percentage. Let's look at percentage. So I'm just going to bring this back to 1m. So if I do 1m now, watch. If I do 1m, so the 1m will be relative to what? 2m. So this 1m now is the same, is relative to what? 2m. So if you see, they are going to be all be on the same size. Fantastic. So let's look at percentage. So percentage is relative to the parent element size. It's relative to the parent element size. Percentage. So when you have 100%, it means full width of the parent. So let's say, for example, I come here. I don't think we're able to finish this responsive web design today. So hopefully by, let's say, tomorrow or on Wednesday, we'll continue from where we stop. Okay, so I'm going to have a div here. I'll call it div.container. Div.container. And I'm going to have like an image here. Let me just use image for example. So I'll come here. Let me search for a nice image. So nice image. So I'll come here. What kind of image should I search for? So let's do a car or a phone. Of course, I like let's do a phone. My dream phone is to get Samsung S24 Ultra. So let me use my the phone I aspire to get. Samsung S24 Ultra. Let's use the image. Okay, which one? I think I like this one. So copy link address. So I'm going to use, I think I've taught you all of these, how to, use image address and all of those things. I think in the beginning of the bootcamp. So I'm going to click on copy link address. I think that should be it. Yes, copy link address. So I'll come here and I'll paste it here. This is too much. But anyways, let's just paste it. So if I save, I come to this part. I think I should be able to see this. Or is there anything I'm getting wrong here? Should be able to see. Okay. Did I copy the right? Okay, copy. This is copy link address. It's supposed to be copy image address. Sorry about that. Copy image address. So let me just remove this and paste this. See, it's shorter. All right, we come here. Can you see? Voila, fantastic. My phone. So, all right. So I will come to the image tag. So we have a div with a class of container. So I'm going to select it here. So I'll do dot container. Do dot container. Then I'm going to give it a width of, let's say, 500 pixel, and a height of 500 pixel as well. So you can convert this to rem. So if you convert this to rem, it's going to be like 40 rem, 50 rem, and 50 rem. So if I do this, let me do a border of 2 pixel, solid, then gray. Let me look for a gray color, a shade of gray. So if I save, look at what we have here. You can't see anything. Why? Because the image has covered the container. But we want a situation whereby the image should fit into the container. So if we want the image to fit into the container, then we use what? Percentage. You don't use rem, because rem is for HTML root element. You get that now? So you can use m. So m is for, okay, let's try. I've not used m before anyway, so let's try using m. So if I do dot container, then one, then image, and I do a width of 1 m. So let's see. A width of 1 m. Let's see how it's going to look like. You can't see it. You see that now. So m is not appropriate. So you see, let's use percentage. So with this, so percentage is relative to the parent element. So now we want to use percentage value, sorry, percentage unit for the width to our image tag. And we know that the image tag is inside or nested inside of container, or the div that has a class of container. So if now we set the container to be, we set the width of the container to be 500 pixel and the height of the container to be 500 pixel. Are you with me? All right. So I now want the image that is inside of the container to assume the entire width of the container. In order for that to happen, I will have to use percentage. So I will give the image a percentage of what? I will give the image a value of 100%. So this 100% simply means the size now will be relative to the container. So this 100% simply means 500 pixel. That's what it means. Because if percentage is relative to the parent element, then 100% will be equal to the width of the width value of the parent element. You see that now? So 100% width of for the image is equals to the width value of the parent container. So if I save this now and I come here, can you see the image is adapting to the width of the container. So the width of the container is 500. We set the image to be 100%. So the image now will take 100, will take the entire, will cover the entire width space of the container. But we can say, okay, we want it to be 50%. So you know that it's going to take half. So 50% of 500 will be like 250 pixel. So can you see? Fantastic. So let's take it back to 100. And I'm going to convert this to, I'm also going to do for the I too as well. Percentage too. So now let's see what we have here. Can you see? Percentage. Let me stretch it or use a margin um 0 and auto. So let me center it horizontally. All right. I don't want this video to exceed 1 hour, so I'm going to stop exactly 1 hour or less than an hour. So I'm going to do another video on web responsive web design, but let's just touch this. So I don't want the video to be too long. You get? All right. So this is what we have. So now you can see now the image is assuming the width size and the height size of its container. But you can see that the way it's stretched, the it has altered the I think it has altered the resolution of the image. So there's a way we can do it whereby we can still maintain that. So I'll just say, okay, object fit. By default, object is what is fill. I think I've addressed this before. So I'm going to, if I make it contain, if I do contain, let's see what we are going to have here. Can you see? So it will the contain will actually help the image to still be able to maintain its resolution while it fits into the browser's to the container's width or height. So apparently it's covering the container's height, sorry, container's width, but not covering the container's height. But if I make it cover, you can see, we see something now. Look at what we have here. It's going to cover, it's going to still give us the appropriate resolution, but though some part of the image will be cut out. You get that now? Part of the image will be cut out. So that's about percentage. So last but not the least will be viewport. Viewport width and viewport height. So viewport width and viewport height, these units are relative to the viewport size, meaning to the browser's width and to the browser's height. So what I'm going to do is this. um, I'm going to let me comment. Should I comment, or let's just have another div here? I'll have a div. I'll call it viewport. I'll call it viewport. So call it viewport. So I'll come here, I'll do dot viewport. So this viewport, if I do width, or let's say I'm going to do a width of 100 viewport width and a height of, let's say, 20 viewport height. So we need to give it a background color. So I'll give it a background color of let's say, let's use this, or let's use this other one. Yeah. So if I save, look at what we have here. Let me take this one up here. So can you see? So this div is covering the entire viewport width of my browser. So if you try that on your laptop, you are going to have the same results. So can you see? Why are we having this horizontal scroll bar here? Is there a reason? There should be actually. But I've set all the elements. I've reset all the elements padding and value. All right, let's move on. Let's see what we have here. Can you see? It's covering the entire viewport. And also I can make it 80 viewport width. So if I do 80 viewport width, look at what we have here. So even though I reduce, or I resize the browser's viewport width. If I resize the browser's viewport width, it will always be 80%. You see that now? It will always be what? 80 viewport width of what? Of the browser. You see that now? So that is that. Very, very, very simple. So you see it's very, very, very simple. So the same thing too. If you want the image, or let's say for example, if I comment this part and I comment this paragraph, and I also comment this div here. If I comment this div, you save, and we come here. So we are left with this. So if you want this background color to cover the entire viewport height, it is very simple. All you just have to do is to come to the style and just say 100 what? 100 viewport height. So it will cover the entire browser's height. So can you see, to cover everything? So you can also do that 100%, 100, why am I using same percent? 100 viewport width too as well. So it's going to cover everything. So this is what we have here. Can you see? Fantastic. So having this knowledge is very, very important. So I would advise that you watch this video over and over again for you to be able to understand this to for you to be able to understand the point that once you start building project with it, you'll be able to, you will be able to follow along. So all right, like I said, the website that we are going to be building for this project, website we are going to be building to end this the 2 weeks web development bootcamp is this. Do I still have it here? Okay, yeah, this is it. So this is the website we are going to be building to end the 2 weeks web development bootcamp. So this is the website we are going to be building. So in our next class, um I'm going to teach you media query. That's where the work is. So I'm going to teach you media query for like an hour. Then afterwards, then I will also teach you grid. So we have two topics left: media query, then grid. After grid, then we'll look at this website. You see that now? We'll look at this website. So we'll be able to build this website from from we're going to build this website from scratch. So and it's going to be responsive on mobile screen size, tablets. It's going to be responsive. It's going to be adaptable and responsive to different screen size, mobile screen size, laptop screen size, tablet screen size, iPad, and all those things. It's going to be responsive. I'm telling you. So it's going to be responsive. So that is why I'm teaching you responsive web design, starting with absolute and relative units. So now that we are done with that, in our next class, I'm going to be teaching you media query. After media query, then I'm also going to be teaching you grid. Then after grid, we'll go over to this video. All right, so we are done for today class. All right. So that is the end. Well, not the end like the end, but for today, that's the end. So in our next class, we'll look at media query. So, like I said, if you are new to my YouTube channel and you watch this video to the end and you enjoy the video, please subscribe, like, and comment. And also, I implore you to enroll for my JavaScript course, which is titled JavaScript Simplified. It is very, very affordable. You are going to be learning a lot. I'm telling you, you are going to be learning a lot, and it is very, very affordable. So, like I said, I'm giving 50% discount for the first 100 persons that enroll. People are already enrolling. You get that? People are already enrolling for the course. So, please, if you if you want to join the JavaScript tutorial, the JavaScript course, enroll now, and you will never regret it. You will never regret it. Yeah. So the beautiful thing is you'll be able to have access to me. So if you have any questions regarding whatever that will be communicated or taught in the JavaScript course, I'm very much available to answer you. All right. So we'll meet again some other time or tomorrow or next tomorrow to continue responsive web design topic. So until then, bye bye.